Hello and welcome to another episode of the Prof series. In this episode we'll cover a paper by Dr. Paul Luimes. Dr. Paul Luimes is a chief livestock researcher at Ridgetown campus and a professor of livestock management in Ridgetown, Ontario. His work is largely in sheep and sheep feeding. You'll be covering a paper by Dr. Paul Luimes called Fiber Requirements for Market Lambs. Let's get started. 80% of the cost of raising market lambs in Ontario is largely due to feed costs. As a consequence, Dr. Paul Luimes has developed various trials regarding sheep feeding systems to try to lower the cost of feeding sheep. Work he has already completed in Ridgetown campus at that time found that 100% of the concentrated diets have proven to be most economical. Within these studies, lambs were purposely bedded fresh straw to provide lambs with a fiber source before transitioning to a grain-based diet. The question remains, however, how much fiber is needed to keep lambs healthy and growing at a productive rate. As such, a trial was set up to determine the effective fiber levels on lamb performance and rumen health. This will maximize growth rate potential in the current sheep breeds while maintaining flock health and welfare. The diets are set up at either 0% fiber, 20% fiber, 40% fiber, 60% fiber, 80% fiber, or 100% fiber. The fiber is derived from alfalfa hay, with the remaining grain-based diet being derived from corn, pre-mixed with a vitamin mineral supplement. Feed costs for approximately $340 per ton for grain and $220 per ton for hay. Lambs are also orally administered a rumen data lodger on the first and 35th day of the trial to record the rumen pH every 5 minutes. This would determine how much acidosis became a problem in different diets. The lambs were weighed weekly, and the feeding trial lasted for 70 days before the lambs were slaughtered and inspected at the slaughterhouse. Data loggers were removed from the body or the rumen at the time of the slaughter, with location noted. A small tissue sample is then collected from the rumen after slaughter to look for potential bacterial lesions caused by rumen health damage. The health score ranged from a 1 to 3, for 1 being healthy and a 3 being heavily damaged. And here, the first thing that was discovered is that if you increase the grain percentage of the diet more than 40%, there's very little to any differences in weight gain rate. So the current ratio from an economic standpoint of 60% hay to 40% grain is the most economically viable in terms of bulk growth patterns. However, there is heavy differences between 100% hay and 60% hay from each other, with the final body weight being significantly higher in the 60% hay, 40% grain treatment versus 100% hay, 0% grain. So growth rate is definitely slower on 100% hay, but you don't make any gains when you go above 40% grain. Subacute acidosis happens between the pH of 5.5 and 5 within the rumen, while acute acidosis is characterized as pH being under 5 in the rumen. There is no outward symptoms of subacute acidosis, but can be detected through decreased production over time. Acute acidosis will cause a decrease in growth rate, milk production, and general survivability. Acidosis becomes a problem only when you get less than 40% hay during the finishing period. What this means is that if you go below 40% hay, you begin to see health problems regarding acidosis when raising finishing sheep. From a health standpoint, there's very little difference in terms of overall health across diets regards to rumen health, some bacterial lesions. This actually makes sense, however, because high-grain diets reduce the absorption of volatile fatty acids, which depresses growth in both lambs and in bacteria. Still not healthy to go on a 100% grain diet, however. The conclusion is, once you begin feeding between 60% grain and 80% grain, acidosis becomes a big problem. Based on the work, it's likely that the 60% hay in the diet is likely the golden ratio for production. The trial also found that the most profitable diet across the board was 60% hay and 40% grain based on current prices. The second least expensive diet was 100% grain. The price per kilo of growth is $1.61 for a 60% hay, 40% grain diet, and $1.70 for a 100% grain diet. So from a animal welfare perspective, the 60% hay and 40% grain diet, on average, no acidosis, save you $2,200 per 1,000 lambs, and overall improve the health of your lambs. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoyed it and think you can donate, you can do so at Buy Me a Coffee, link in the description below. Thank you for watching.